everybody. It's Friday. I hope you had a wonderful Friday. I had a really good one. I had to go to Roseburg or not into Roseburg, sorry, into town and run to the bank. And then I went to a birthday party. Oh, first I let my dogs run. And I'm going to show you my dogs right now. There they are. They're on my bed. Ruby, Coco, hi. Can you say hi? There you go. My good girl. My good girl. Well, I took them in a ride in the country. I want to show you something that I found before I start the story. Can you see this? I found this growing on a tree. It's a crazy name. It's called witch's butter. Now, you have to be very careful. In fact, you should never just eat something that's growing out in the wild. You need to talk to a grown-up, your parents, and make sure it's safe. But I happen to have looked up this one before, and witch's butter, crazy name, beautiful yellow and orange colors, as you can see again, is edible. So I'm going to try it. I have a drink right beside me. That way, if it tastes gross, I can do it. So let's try it. That is not gross at all. It doesn't have a lot of flavor. I would definitely eat this again. Pretty good. Well, let me get a drink before we start our story. So, we're still reading the book, The Hair-Pulling Bear Dog by Lee Roddy. It's a D.J. Dillon series. And yesterday we read chapter 6, where DJ made a dangerous decision. Do you remember what that decision was? He's going after old Satchelfoot, that bear, by himself. Well, at least he was planning on going it by himself. But I think that the pastor, is his name Paul, Mr. Staggs, he's going to go with him. That's good, because that would be just way too dangerous to do on your own. So now we're on chapter 7. Oops, sorry. And chapter 7 is a mad mother bear with cubs. Oh man. Well, let's get reading. Just as the sun was setting in the saddle of the Western Range, that means the sun was setting in the west, where it always does, but I never heard it called that before, the Western Range. Paul Stagg dropped DJ at the bottom of the hill where the Dillons lived. DJ slid out of the car onto the shoulder of the road. Well, thanks again, he said. It pleasured us to have you with us. And don't worry about what you said to that young Abbas fellow. Soon's I trap that nuisance bear at the church camp, you can borrow the trap and try it for old Satchelfoot. Just hope it won't be too late, DJ. Me too, the boy said. He waved goodbye as he crossed the road and sat down on a boulder to take his shoes and socks off. A boulder is a very large rock. He waded the creek by the twin poplars, that's a type of tree, and walked barefoot up the rutted road trail. The hounds bayed him, but quiet when he spoke to them. They went back under the high front porch. That's where they stayed. But not Zero. He was chained beyond, so past the hounds, closer to the back door. The little mutt ran to the end of his chain and The chain was pulling him back. He's dancing on his back legs. His forepaws, his front paws, were in the air, trying to reach out and touch the boy. The scruffy mongrel dog seemed determined to twist himself into two pieces with gladness. DJ spoke firmly. Quiet, or I'll sell you to the abbess. Grandpa had been sitting quietly in his rocking chair until the dogs disturbed him. He raised his gray head. DJ smiled and called, "Hi, Grandpa," but the old man didn't answer. The boy climbed the steps and looked into the faded blue eyes. "You okay, Grandpa?" "Sure," the old man said quietly, without looking up. Grandpa started rocking very slowly. The chair was squeaking. The old man's eyes didn't meet his grandson's. He seemed to be looking far off in the distance. It gave DJ an uneasy feeling that he couldn't explain. He hesitated, unsure of what to say or do next. Dad's voice came from inside the living room. "He's feeling poorly again." That means he's feeling sick. "Got the miseries just about every place a man can. Now, where have you been all day?" "You know where I've been," DJ said, entering the house. Dad's voice snapped, "Don't sass me." DJ said softly, "I wasn't sassing, Dad. You said I could take supper with the preacher, the bear hunter, after church. He just dropped me off." Dad looked up from where he was rolling his own rifle cartridges. "I didn't expect you to be gone all day. Did you find someone to buy that dog?" "No," DJ said it before remembering what Nels Abbas had said. But Nels hadn't said anything about buying the hair puller. Dad muttered, "I'm getting tired of feeding him. And right now, you feed the hogs and the hounds." DJ said, "Yes, sir." And he swallowed hard. The good feeling he'd had with the happy Stagg family was swept away. The boy wanted to talk about trapping the outlaw bear, but Dad wasn't in a good mood. DJ asked, "How's your leg?" "You can see how it is," Dad snapped. His leg was propped up stiffly on a pillow, supported by a table bench. "Now you get out of your good clothes and go do the chores." DJ thought how nicely everyone talked in Paul Stagg's house. DJ wished his family talked politely instead of always biting and growling. It was hard to imagine his mother being right when she said someday Jesus would touch Dad and Grandpa's hearts and they would be changed. If God could do that, maybe DJ would believe again. He removed his good clothes in the bathroom and put on his patched overalls. Barefooted, he went through the living room into the kitchen and outside the back door. He reached into the pump house for the cracklings. Now, cracklings is when they cook meat. In the fat of that, there will be little solid pieces, and they're very flavorful. He carried the dog's food back towards the dogs. Zero was closest. The mutt squeezed from under the low end of the porch and bounded to the end of his chain again. He was so happy to see him. DJ pulled out the dog's old pie plate and put the smelly food in it. The boy refilled Zero's water bowl from the outside with the outside hose. The dog didn't look at the food. He whined and thrust his head against the boy's elbow. "Better eat," DJ said softly, giving the mutt a quick pat. But the hair puller followed DJ to the end of the chain as the boy walked alongside the porch to feed the hounds. When DJ bent to pick up Thunder's pan, Dad yelled through the open screen door, "In the morning, take that hair puller and try to give him away since you can't sell him. Failing that, take him for a walk someplace and lose him. DJ looked down at the little mutt, then bent to rough his ears and his head. The boy whispered, "Don't mind him, Zero. Dad's just out of sorts. That means in a bad mood. He doesn't mean that. Still, I guess we'll have to give you away if we can't sell you. But we don't have to do that until tomorrow." DJ went on feeding the hounds, wondering why he should care about that little mutt. He was a coward, plain and simple, and he'd caused lots of trouble. DJ wanted a collie. He didn't want Zero. So why did he feel funny about what happened to that little guy? The next morning, let me turn this just down a little bit more. The next morning, DJ freed Zero's chain for the back porch and called to the little dog. Eagerly, Zero bounded after him down the hill, across the creek, and onto the paved country road. By then, the mutt had sensed something was bothering the boy. Zero quit bouncing and trotted close to DJ. The chain fell back slack in the boy's hand. A car coming toward them slowed, and Paul Stagg's big booming voice jerked DJ out of his deep thoughts. "Hey, DJ, glad I ran into you. Look what I got on the trailer." Sorry about that. DJ checked the quiet country road for traffic, then crossed with Zero to the shoulder of the other side. "That your bear trap?" DJ asked. "That's it." Paul patted the metal trap with his big hand. "I'm hauling it up to the church camp to get that nuisance bear. What do you think? Will that trap hold a bear or not?" DJ and the boys circled the bear trap on the trailer. DJ figured he could almost stand up straight in the 15-foot-long metal pipe. Wow, that was a big pipe. "Looks strong," he said, patting it with the palm of his hand. It made a booming sound. Paul Stagg explained, "It's just a big old piece of galvanized culvert made to run under the road and let water pass through it. But it'll work fine for a bear trap because it's so strong no bear can tear it open. And see those bars over both ends? They're steel doors, really. You lift them up by a pulley and set a trigger inside. Both ends of the culvert are left open, with the bars sitting high up on metal racks. So if it was like, let's see, if this was it, so there would be an open spot here and an open spot here, and the doors would be pulled way up above them so that the doors could be up here and a bear could go in. But if the bear went in, suddenly those doors would bang down on both sides and the bear would be trapped. That seems like a pretty good idea. The bear goes in the tunnel after the bait on the trigger. So that's got to be some sort of food. Cat food with a fish base is a good bait, but strawberry jam is best for all the bears. I thought they liked honey best. Nothing compares with strawberry jam. Well, when Mr. Bear goes in the trap and touches the bait, both those iron bar doors drop down hard and lock both ends. No way for the bear to get out. Then we use those little wheels to roll the culvert onto the trailer again. After that, we just haul the nuisance bear up into the high country, far away, and turn him loose so far away that he will never come back. Want to see how to set the trap? Ride up with me to the church camp. Kathy's already there. Left early this morning with some other friends. DJ shook his head. Can't. Dad wants me to see about getting rid of this worthless old dog, even if I have to give him away. Well, like I said, a dog and a boy deserve a second chance. But if your father told you to do something, you'd best do it. Say, I know. Maybe somebody at the church camp might want your dog. How about riding along with me and let's find out? 2 hours later, DJ finished touring Cloud's Rest Church Camp with Paul Stagg. The nuisance bear had broken into the main dining room kitchen the night before. DJ shook his head at how much damage that had been done. The big commercial refrigerator had been tipped over, and the door ripped right off its hinges. The heavy, thick door of the walk-in freezer box had also been smashed. Bottles had been broken, sacks and cans of groceries were tumbled everywhere. Contents of bottles, sacks, and cans were spilled all over the place. Paul picked up a half-gallon of what had held peaches. Bear can opener, Paul said thoughtfully. Would you believe a bear's claws could tear up a can like that? Well, I've got to get some of the men to help me unload this trap. Why don't you and your dog take a walk around? Maybe you'll find someone who'll give your dog a good home. Or maybe you'll run into my daughter. The little mutt stayed close to DJ's heels as the boy roamed aimlessly over the rolling and wooded hills of the church campground. For DJ, it was an amazing sight to see lots of city kids yelling and playing and having a good time together. Some rode horses along the trails that wandered in and out of the 900 acres of trees. Others played ball or swam or sat in the shade and read or made things. Boy, that sounds like fun. Each time DJ stopped to ask if anyone wanted a dog free, they shook their heads. A couple boys even laughed and pointed at the mutt. Zero's ears drooped and he tucked his short tail tightly against his body. DJ spoke sharply to the boys and they apologized. Boy and dog went on. DJ didn't see Kathy anyplace. DJ and Zero topped the rise and caught a whiff of the camp garbage dump. Though the camp was 2 miles off the paved road, the refuge or garbage was hauled away only once a week. DJ started to turn away when Zero woofed. Woof! The hackles went up along his back, so that's the hair on his back went up. DJ knelt to see himself. DJ knelt to see for himself and I missed the sentence. So his hackles went up along his back. He growled deep in his chest and loudly sniffed the grass. What is it, Zero, huh? DJ knelt to see for himself and immediately jumped up. Bear tracks. Fresh, too. The grass was just starting to spring back up where he trampled it. So when you step on grass as standing up, it will kind of smash it down, but then it will begin to come back up. And that's what was happening. The short hairs on the back of DJ's neck stood up in fright as he glanced about. I don't see anything, Zero, but let's get out of here. The little dog needed no urging. He ran so close to DJ's feet that his heels kept hitting the dog's lower jaw until DJ used the chain to pull the dog to a proper heel position. When the boy felt safer, he said to the boy, "It's downright scary, knowing some bears are not afraid of people. It seems especially scary when bears get bold enough and come right into a big campground. I mean, like this in the middle of the broad daylight. I sure wish we'd brought one of the hounds in my rifle. Well, no sense thinking about that. Let's take one more walk that way to see if we can find Kathy." DJ walked until he found himself in a primitive area near Jawbone Ridge above the Mad River. The brush and rocks were so high and close together, the boy was forced to unsnap Zero from his chain to keep him from getting tangled every few feet. Boy and dog were cutting through the rough brush and timber when DJ spotted a dry creek bed. Figuring it'd be easier walking, he scrambled down the hillside and jumped over a log. Then he stopped dead in his tracks. For the third time this spring, he was looking at a bear. At once the boy saw she was a sow. Now a sow would be a female bear. She was gunny sack blonde, that was her color, and weighed maybe 200 pounds. She had not smelled the boy, but she had obviously caught his movement, so she saw him. She woofed uncertainly, "Woof," and raised up on her hind legs like a man. DJ knew bears didn't see well, but they did have a great sense of smell. The wind was from the sow to the boy, so the rank smell, somehow like a wet dog, only worse, was strong in the boy's nose. But the boy's only desire was to get away safely. He started to step quietly back and felt his heels kick Zero in the lower jaw. The little dog yelped in surprise more than pain. Instantly, the bear woofed loudly, "Whoa!" and clicked her tusks in a warning. DJ whispered, "Now you've done it, Zero." The boy saw the sow turn and swipe her forepaw at something. It moved, and for the first time, DJ saw the cub. It was the same color as the mother. The cub ran a few steps and started climbing the nearest tree. The mother swung her paw, and a second cub, a black one this time, was also spanked up the tree. DJ started to turn to run when he saw the sow send a brown cub scooting up another tree. Triplets! There were 3. DJ knew one of the most dangerous animals is a wild mother bear with young. The boy desperately looked for a safe place. He didn't see any. He glanced back. With all 3 cubs safely scooting up different trees, the bear started towards DJ and the dog. No sense being quiet now. DJ yelled, "Run, Zero! Run!" Boy and dog ran until DJ's lungs seemed like they were on fire. He's breathing so hard, and he had a stitch in his side. It was kind of hurting. Then DJ dared to steal a glance over his shoulder. The bear was still in place, the triplets following her around. "Boy," DJ said, flopping down on the hillside to catch his breath, "we ran a lot further than we needed to, but I wasn't about to look back and see if she was gaining on us. Let's rest here and see what she does." "That sow is amazingly like a person," DJ thought. When danger threatened, her first concern had been for her young. Like a human mother, when her little ones were safe, she turned to face whatever danger there was. Then, when the danger was past, she went back to her motherly duties. DJ watched the cubs tumbling and playing like puppies. You know what, Zero? DJ whispered. If I can't have a collie, maybe I could just have a cub. Didn't Paul Stagg said he had once had a bear cub? I think he did. I'll have to ask him about that. Zero wagged his tail, and he whined softly. He laid his muzzle on DJ's cork-soled boots. Remember the cork boots had the pokey parts so that you wouldn't slip when you were running or walking on rough ground? DJ glanced down at the mutt, then lifted his eyes to watch the bears. They were still in the open area. Suddenly, the boy caught a flash of red moving toward the bears. DJ leapt to his feet. That's a girl. She'll run right into... A scream interrupted. Ah! The terror in the voice turned DJ's whole body into goosebumps. For a moment, DJ stood still. Then the scream came again. Ah! He caught another flickering glimpse of the girl. She'd apparently tripped and fallen. She was scrambling backward on her hands and knees, screaming. She turned and DJ saw her face. His voice exploded in the mountain stillness. Kathy! He started running down the hill, shouting so much that his throat ached with the power of his cry. He didn't know what he was going to do, but he had to do something. He reached the clearing where he had first seen the sow. The cubs had apparently again been spanked up a tree. Kathy had scrambled up on the huge granite boulder. The bear was pacing around the bottom, so it's walking back and walking forth. DJ wasn't sure if she could climb the smooth boulder or if she didn't want to. The boy slid to a halt just beyond a fallen log. Kathy, you okay? He called, gasping for breath. Yes, I think so. The bear heard DJ and swung her big head to look at him. She woofed a warning. Whoa! He tried to think what to do, but before he could make a decision, he heard Zero bark. Instantly, the bear clicked her teeth and charged. Kathy shrieked, "Run, DJ! Run!" Oh, man. And that is the end of chapter 7. This was an exciting one. I hope DJ's going to be okay. So, chapter 8's title is Silence for a Hair-Pulling Hero. I wonder what that means. Well, we'll find out tomorrow. I hope to be able to read earlier. Again, I was very busy, so it was dark when I came in to read. But I hope you have a wonderful night and that your weekend is wonderful. I am really happy it's Sabbath right now, so no more work for me for one whole day. I think that's wonderful that God planned that. And I hope you have a really nice Saturday. And if you keep the Sabbath, I hope that it's really blessed too. But no matter what you guys do, always remember, I love you. And I look forward to reading with you again tomorrow. Okay, good night.